Hi, Taurus soul. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness. This is your deep weekly horoscope reading, and let me ask you right now, what if one subtle shift could unlock a massive win that changes everything? Would you recognize it? Would you trust it? Because this message, this moment, is not a coincidence. Something is stirring within your energy field, and the universe has guided you here for a reason. In the first few seconds you pressed play, something beyond the physical aligned. Whether you knew it or not, your soul sent out a signal, and now, the universe is responding. There's a divine rhythm to life, an invisible pulse that connects the seen and unseen. And this week, Taurus, that pulse is vibrating stronger than ever around you. This is the week that can pivot your direction, from stagnation into success, from hesitation into divine timing. You're being called into alignment, into truth, into power. And the transformation you've been sensing, yes, that quiet inner knowing, is about to be revealed in ways you never expected. Not in chaos, not in noise, but through a single energetic shift that will echo through your life with long-term impact. This isn't just another forecast. This is a soul-aligned awakening. I invite you now to slow down, listen not just with your ears, but with your heart. Because everything I share here isn't to dictate your path, but to remind you that you are the co-creator of your reality. As the Buddha taught, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. And Taurus, you've been thinking deeply. You've been feeling the nudge. This is your confirmation. You are not here by accident. You are here because your energy has become a match for this exact vibration. That's what we do in this sacred space. Eternal mindfulness is more than just a channel, it's a cosmic home for souls who are awakening, aligning, and ascending. So take a moment with me, right here, right now, to breathe in this awareness. And please, allow me to take just a few seconds to express my deepest gratitude for your presence. For every like, every comment you've lovingly shared, and every single subscription that brings you deeper into the Eternal Mindfulness family, thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Your incredible support fuels this channel and allows us to continue sharing these transformative messages with beautiful souls like you. But more than anything, Taurus, my dear grounded dreamer, I want you to stay with me until the very last minute of this reading, because what the universe is about to reveal to you is absolutely breathtaking. A message is arriving. A blessing is forming. A new chapter is ready to unfold. And believe me when I say, you'll want to hear every piece of what Spirit has in store. Now tell me, my loyal Taurus souls, what have you done lately that called the universe to bring you here, at this exact moment in time? If the sacred number 777 has shown up for you recently, or if you feel it now deep within, don't ignore it. That number is a cosmic sign of completion, spiritual wisdom, and divine favor unfolding. Comment it below if it resonates, and claim the shift that's already beginning within you. Take a deep breath. Center your energy. Because what comes next might just be the key you've been waiting for all year. There's something quietly miraculous about timing, not the kind we measure with clocks or calendars, but the subtle rhythm that exists between readiness and recognition. And this week, Taurus, you've arrived at a moment where that rhythm has found you in harmony. The energy surrounding you now is rich with the vibrations of visibility, accomplishment, and soft but steady triumph. You've been planting seeds, some with certainty, others with hope, and now, the bloom begins. Venus, your ruling planet, casts a powerful glow over your chart this week. It enhances not just love and beauty, as many associate with her, but the more grounded fruits of effort, self-worth, value, and abundance in tangible forms. When Venus aligns like this, it isn't about flashiness or show. It's about authenticity. You're not here to perform, you're here to embody. To be recognized not for what you pretend to be, but for what you consistently, quietly are, devoted, resilient, full of grounded wisdom that others lean on more than they admit. With the star card rising as a guiding light in your reading, there's a soft invitation to remember your deeper vision. The kind of hope that survives disappointment. The kind of faith that doesn't need an audience to keep burning. This card doesn't arrive just to say, "You're healing," or "You'll be okay." It comes as a signal that you already are, perhaps you've just forgotten. Sometimes the hardest part of growth isn't the effort, but believing we deserve the reward. And yet, here you are, on the verge of being seen. Not just in the eyes of others, but in your own mirror. Then comes the Six of Wands, a celebration, yes, but not the loud kind. This is about acknowledgement, recognition, a quiet nod from the universe that says, "You did it." The work you've been doing, internally, emotionally, or even professionally, is starting to align with outward affirmation. This isn't accidental. It's a reflection of your consistency and care. Think of the way a mountain doesn't rise to impress, it rises simply because that's its nature. You, too, have been rising. There is a beautiful teaching in the wisdom of presence, that when one lets go of striving and returns to the fullness of the moment, reward arises not through force, but through natural unfolding. You don't need to chase success right now. You only need to receive it. Allow yourself to step into the space you've been building for so long, even if you're not sure how to celebrate yourself just yet. Even if your instinct is to downplay your win, don't. This week, your light asks to be witnessed. To anchor this energy, try journaling your recent victories, no matter how small. Name them. Own them. Write them down as though you are writing to your future self, proof that the effort was worth it. Use affirmations that remind you of your inherent value, not as something to earn, but as something to remember. I am worthy of recognition. I receive abundance with ease. I allow myself to shine. There is nothing selfish about accepting your moment. In fact, it is generous. Because when you allow yourself to rise, you give silent permission for others to do the same. That is how energy ripples outward, not through grand gestures, but through grounded presence. So let this be the week you take up space. Not because you want attention, but because you've earned your place. Let this be the moment you say yes, to your reflection, to your rhythm, and to the light that's been waiting patiently for you to step fully into it. Sometimes what truly transforms our path isn't a grand revelation or dramatic moment, but rather, the soft whisper to release something we've quietly carried for far too long. If you've been feeling a weight that's hard to name, Taurus, this is where your attention is being drawn now. After recognizing your inner light and the possibility of well-deserved success, the next step is more subtle, but just as crucial, making space for it. You can't move fully into a season of growth if your arms are still holding on to what no longer fits. Change, at its most powerful, often begins in the mind. A single shift in thought can send ripples through your entire way of being. Perhaps you've been holding on to an old belief about what you're capable of, something inherited, something repeated, something that's kept you playing small. Or maybe there's a story you've told yourself over and over again about why things didn't work out, or why they never could. But what if you could lay that story down, not because it wasn't true, but because it no longer serves who you are becoming? This week's energy invites you to release, gently, but clearly. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means creating room. It means allowing yourself to evolve beyond the boundaries that once protected you but now restrict you. The Seven of Wands appears here as a gentle nudge to reevaluate what you've been defending so fiercely. Have you been standing your ground in a place that no longer feels like home? Have you been resisting change simply because it asks you to feel unfamiliar again? In the cosmos, everything moves in cycles. Stars expand and contract. Planets rotate through signs, carrying with them distinct energies and lessons. You, too, are part of this rhythm. To hold on endlessly is to resist the very nature of life. One of the oldest teachings reminds us that the root of suffering is attachment, not because desire is wrong, but because grasping too tightly keeps us from flowing with what is. So ask yourself, gently, honestly, if I were to release one thing today, what would it be? It could be a pattern of self-doubt, a comparison that drains your joy, or even just the fear that if you let go, nothing better will replace it. And then remind yourself, space doesn't stay empty for long. When you let go with intention, you invite life to fill you with something more aligned. This is not about forcing change. It's about softening into it. You can write down what no longer serves you on a piece of paper, fold it slowly, and place it under a small amethyst stone or near a space that feels sacred to you. As you do this, feel the act not as rejection, but as release. A recognition that you're no longer at war with the past, you're choosing peace with the present. Letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's knowing that holding on has its time, and so does surrender. In your body, you'll feel the truth of this. There's an ease that comes after the exhale. And in that stillness, your next step becomes clear, not because you fought for it, but because you made room for it to appear. In this quiet shift, Taurus, you realign not only your energy, but your destiny. You step out of defense and into direction. You become, once again, the grounded visionary you were always meant to be. Awareness doesn't always arrive with a grand revelation. Sometimes, it whispers through quiet moments, when you're pouring your morning tea, when you're watching the light shift across the wall, when you're between thoughts. And it's in these seemingly ordinary spaces that the extraordinary begins to unfold. After releasing what no longer serves, Taurus, the next invitation is not just to wait for better, but to become better's natural home. This is where the true shift begins, not in what you attract, but in who you allow yourself to become in the process. Energy moves in resonance. What you radiate is what you begin to call in. This isn't abstract, it's observable in daily life. When your thoughts spiral toward limitation, you notice more walls. But when your mind softens toward possibility, pathways emerge. The Ace of Cups speaks to that internal opening. It's the card of emotional reset, of heart-centered clarity, of receptivity. And this week, it asks, what if the very thing you desire has been circling you all along, just waiting for a space to land? The truth is, you don't manifest through want alone. You manifest by becoming magnetic to the life you envision. And magnetism, Taurus, isn't about effort, it's about alignment. It's not about reaching for more, but about recognizing what you already hold and letting that truth expand from within. That's where the Three of Wands enters the picture, a symbol of perspective, of visionary momentum. It shows that your dreams are not just distant ideas, they are anchored in the steps you've already taken. You're not starting over, you're building forward. This week's energy encourages you to pay closer attention, not just to what you desire, but to how you are showing up for it. Are your actions mirroring the future you want to live in? Are your words reflecting the abundance you say you're ready for? The law that governs all things visible and invisible teaches that what we repeatedly focus on becomes our point of attraction. Not because life is transactional, but because where attention flows, energy grows. The inner field must be tended before the outer harvest appears. To begin living as the frequency of what you desire, start simple. Choose one area of your life that feels steady. Maybe it's your ability to comfort a friend, your daily walk, or how you keep showing up even when no one notices. Name it. Celebrate it. Then do it again. Repetition not only strengthens belief, it becomes a signal to life itself that you're ready to hold more. The number 3 carries the vibration of expansion, mind, body, and voice. When these 3 are in harmony, you become a clear channel for your own truth. Speak it. Embody it. Think it, not from a place of scarcity, but from a place of enoughness. And the more you step into that internal gold, the confidence, the quiet self-trust, the more the outer gold finds its way to you. The color gold, too, reflects this moment. Not just victory, but the dignity of knowing your value without needing to shout it. There's a teaching that says, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. But to go deeper, it's not just about what you think, it's about how consciously you're willing to observe those thoughts and redirect them. Not with force. With presence. With care. With the same patience you would offer a friend learning something new. So if you feel the future calling you this week, don't run toward it. Stand still. Breathe. Align. Become the space where what you desire already feels at home. This is the turning point, not because something happens outside of you, but because something shifts within you, and suddenly, you're no longer chasing light. You are radiating it. Curiosity often arrives disguised as coincidence. A message you weren't expecting. A call from someone you hadn't thought of in months. A feeling that nudges you to check your inbox, or pause at a sentence you normally would have skimmed. These small moments carry the potential to shift everything. And after aligning your energy and choosing to become magnetic to what you truly desire, Taurus, the next step is to stay open. Because this week, something, or someone, may be on its way to meet you halfway. The cards for this part of your journey are especially vibrant with possibility. The Page of Wands arrives with the energy of news, often surprising, often exciting, and nearly always requiring you to step a little outside of your comfort zone. This is not the kind of message that lands gently, it sparks. It moves. It stirs something inside of you that may have been dormant or uncertain. But here's the thing, the page brings potential, not promises. That means what's offered now may not arrive fully formed. It might be an invitation, a flotation, a whisper of something that could grow, but only if you choose to respond. Next to the page stands the Emperor, grounding all that restless energy with structure and support. Where the page is the spark, the Emperor is the fire pit, the place where energy becomes useful, sustainable. He represents clarity, responsibility, and the quiet power of being prepared. So when opportunity knocks this week, it may not be chaotic or wild. It could arrive from someone with influence, someone whose energy is steady and established. This might be a boss, a mentor, or even a paternal figure. The message? You're ready, even if you don't feel ready. Step forward with grounded confidence. And then, the Knight of Cups softens the edges of this trio with something more tender, a gesture of emotional significance. Sometimes opportunity doesn't come as a career move or a financial win. Sometimes it comes as vulnerability, a long-awaited apology, an unexpected confession, a moment of emotional honesty that cracks open a deeper connection. This card reminds us that messages don't always arrive in the format we expect. So stay alert not just to words, but to tone, to timing, to feeling. Many of us block blessings without even knowing it. We assume good things only arrive when we're perfect, when the timing is spotless, when we've checked every box. But life rarely works that way. The seasons change without waiting for your permission. The flower blooms without knowing if the sun will shine the next day. There's a quiet teaching here: readiness isn't about certainty, it's about openness. The willingness to say yes without needing to control every outcome. The courage to welcome something good, even while you're still learning how to trust it. If that feels hard right now, try this affirmation: I am open to receiving unexpected gifts in ways that surprise and support me. You can write it down, repeat it before you sleep, or simply whisper it when doubt creeps in. You don't have to believe it perfectly. You only have to offer it room to land. In every moment, there are threads being woven just beyond your view. Conversations unfolding, decisions being made, hearts shifting, all aligning to deliver exactly what you didn't even know you were waiting for. So if something, or someone, shows up this week that makes your heart beat a little faster, pay attention. You're not being tested. You're being invited. And what you do with that invitation could very well become the start of something truly beautiful. Sometimes, what feels like a whisper from the past is actually your future calling. There's a moment, often subtle, when something long buried within you stirs, a memory, a forgotten dream, a creative spark you once brushed aside in the name of practicality. After opening yourself to receive, Taurus, and allowing space for the unexpected to arrive, the next invitation is both bold and personal. It's time to follow the thread of your own passion, not just as a feeling, but as a guide. The energy this week invites motion. The Knight of Wands doesn't sit and wait. He rides with purpose, driven not by a destination, but by the fire in his chest. Paired with the Ace of Wands, this is the energy of inspired action, those moments when your heart beats a little faster and your hands instinctively reach for something you haven't touched in years. Maybe it's a notebook, a paintbrush, a recipe, or a business idea that once felt too much or not the right time. But now, something has shifted. The time to wait has passed. The time to try, however imperfectly, is now. And what fuels that action is not pressure. It's not the external push to produce or succeed. It's passion. The pure, luminous force that arises when what you do feels like an extension of who you are. Passion is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, like the calm joy of getting lost in a task, forgetting the clock, feeling whole in the process. This is not about chasing intensity, but about listening for the inner spark that says, "This matters." When you follow that spark, something opens. You return to yourself. From a cosmic perspective, the presence of the number 5 resonates strongly here. It represents freedom, expansion, change, exactly the kind of energy that can feel chaotic but is often the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. 5s in numerology often appear during transitions. And this particular 5 isn't urging you to abandon structure, it's asking you to break free from the inner rules that keep you from joy. The ones that say you need permission to create, or results to validate your effort. If you're unsure where to begin, try looking backward. Write down 10 things you loved as a child, without filtering. Don't worry if they seem unrelated or unrealistic now. Somewhere in that list is a clue. Something still alive. Something waiting. And maybe this week is your chance to give it space again, not because it will make money or gain attention, but because it will make you feel alive. There's a quiet wisdom in trusting what brings you joy. Just as a seed doesn't need to understand its eventual shape to begin growing, you don't need to have the full vision to start exploring. What matters is motion. 1 step. 1 hour. 1 try. Passion isn't a roadmap, it's a compass. It doesn't give you the final answer, but it tells you when you're moving in the right direction. And if fear arises, and it likely will, remember, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act alongside it. When we give ourselves permission to follow what lights us up, we don't just create, we heal. Because the act of doing what you love reclaims parts of yourself you may have forgotten. It gathers the scattered pieces and says, "This, too, is part of me." So let this be your week to say yes, not to the world's demands, but to your soul's request. Let this be the week you pick up that idea, that dream, that joy. Not to be productive, but to be present. Not to impress, but to express. Because sometimes, all that's standing between where you are and the life you long for, is simply trying one more time. When momentum builds and inspiration begins to move us forward, it's natural to want to keep going, to ride the wave, to say yes to everything, to prove to ourselves that we can handle it all. But energy, like breath, requires rhythm. After every inhale, there must be an exhale. And in this moment of your journey, Taurus, what's calling for your attention is not action, but stillness. True power isn't found in constant movement, it's revealed in our willingness to pause. The 4 of Swords invites a kind of sacred retreat, not as avoidance but as essential restoration. It speaks to the wisdom of stepping away so that you can return with deeper clarity and strength. Paired with the High Priestess, this isn't simply a call to rest your body, but an invitation to reconnect with your inner world, the one that often gets drowned out by the noise of doing, achieving, and proving. She reminds us that silence is not empty, it's full of answers. When we learn to sit with ourselves, without distraction or demand, the deeper voice begins to emerge, not loud, but sure. Not rushed, but knowing. There's an old teaching that says the still mind reflects truth like a calm lake reflects the moon. If the waters are stirred, even the brightest insight becomes distorted. That's why now is the time to let the waters settle. You don't need to figure everything out. You only need to give yourself space to feel again. And not just the surface level emotions, but the ones underneath, the gentle ones, the vulnerable ones. The Page of Cups brings this softness. A tender reminder that healing often arrives in unexpected ways, through a quiet memory, a dream, or a moment of compassion you extend to yourself without condition. Rest is not laziness. It's wisdom. It's the body's way of recalibrating. It's the mind's way of sorting. It's the spirit's way of returning home. And in a world that constantly praises productivity, choosing to rest is a radical act of self-respect. It's an acknowledgement that you are not a machine. You are a living, feeling being, and your worth is not measured by how much you produce, but by how well you care for yourself in between. If you've been feeling stretched thin or disconnected, this is your permission to slow down. You might start your day with just 7 minutes of stillness. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and simply notice what's present. No need to fix it. No need to understand. Just witness. Or maybe you'll be called to take a warm bath with sea salt and herbs, not as luxury, but as medicine. Let the water draw out what your body no longer needs. Let it remind you that release can be gentle, and that tending to yourself is a form of devotion. Even your thoughts deserve rest. You can try a simple practice of repeating to yourself, "Allow myself to rest without guilt." Let those words settle into your nervous system. Let them wrap around your shoulders like a soft blanket. You are allowed to exhale. You are allowed to do less. Because in that doing less, you're actually allowing more. More presence. More clarity. More space for the next step to emerge naturally, without being forced. The color turquoise carries a calming frequency, soothing to the heart and mind. You might wear it, meditate with it, or keep it nearby as a visual reminder that peace is productive. That recovery is preparation. And that your next breakthrough doesn't need to be chased. It will arrive more gracefully if you are ready to receive it. This part of the journey is not a detour. It's the integration point. The place where you come back to yourself, not as a concept, but as an experience. So take the pause. Embrace the quiet. What's waiting on the other side of your rest is not just more energy, it's deeper alignment. And now, as we gently arrive at the close of this journey together, I want you to take one more deep breath, slow, intentional, and ask yourself, what if this is the week everything starts to shift? Not because luck finds you, but because you finally decide to trust your timing, to honor your energy, and to step forward with the courage of someone who knows they were never meant to play small. Throughout this reading, we've uncovered some powerful truths. You've been reminded of your value, of the weightless strength that comes from letting go, and of the magnetic pull you create when you choose presence over pressure. You've seen how a simple mindset shift can become the starting point of a whole new timeline. You've been invited to say yes, to messages, to opportunities, to parts of yourself that are rising from within and asking to be expressed once again. And perhaps most importantly, you've been shown the importance of rest, not as an afterthought, but as a sacred action that restores your connection to what matters most. What if all of this, every single message, was leading you to one clear, quiet decision? the decision to trust yourself a little more. To act not when everything is perfect, but when your heart says it's time. To release what no longer aligns, and to welcome what sets your soul on fire. To remember that you are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle, when you choose to become fully present in your own life. This isn't about changing everything overnight. It's about choosing one shift. One new belief. One aligned action. One small ritual of care or courage that says to the universe, I'm ready. Because the truth is, the universe responds to clarity, not confusion. And when your energy becomes a match for your vision, when you begin to live, speak, and act like the person you're becoming, that's when things begin to rearrange themselves in your favor. So let me ask you, Taurus, what is one thing you can do today that your future self will thank you for? What can you release, embrace, or revisit that reminds you of your own power? And more than anything, what would change in your life if you finally gave yourself full permission to believe that you're worthy of the success, love, and peace you've been seeking? If these words stirred something inside you, if even one sentence felt like it was meant just for you, then I want to invite you to leave a comment below with the number 11, or share an affirmation that reflects what you're ready to claim. Maybe it's, I am open to receiving. Or, I trust my timing. Or even simply, this is my season. Whatever speaks to you, put it out there. Speak it into this shared space. This is not just a reading, it's a dialogue, and your voice matters. And before we part, I want to thank you, truly, for being here. For sharing your energy, your presence, and your attention with me and with this growing community at Eternal Mindfulness. Every like, every comment, every subscription is a thread in the fabric of what we're weaving together, a space where insight meets intention, and where growth feels both sacred and possible. If you haven't already, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future readings that align with your energy. It means the world, and it helps us continue creating content that uplifts, empowers, and supports your inner journey. Remember, the most powerful change doesn't require a perfect plan. It only asks for a present heart and a willing soul. So don't just wait for a miracle. Be the miracle. Because you can. Because you're ready. Because the shift starts now.